Hello, my name is Adam Carruthers. I'm reporting to you live. Actually, it's not live. It might be. You never know, but it's bright outside, so it probably isn't. Here from Hua Hua Bakery Cafe in Jaya 1. Many thanks to them for hosting us here today. We've got plenty to show you. I'm very excited, as I always am. Latest news and more from the world of technology, including a look at two rather large phones. You might recognize one from Samsung and one from Apple. I'm excited. Are you?
Huawei has announced its first single-touch fingerprint smartphone in Malaysia, the Huawei Mate 7. Featuring a 6-inch screen with full HD display, the Mate 7 enhances user experience to work and play. The price for Huawei Mate 7 starts from 1,799 ringgit to 1,999 ringgit. Acer Malaysia has officially unveiled 3 new smartphones: Acer Liquid X1, Liquid Jade and Liquid Z500. Featuring powerful performance and smoother transitions, these 3 phones will surely capture the attention of smartphone enthusiasts from all walks of life. The price starts from 499 ringgit to 999 ringgit. The Oppo R5 is now available for pre-order in Malaysia at authorized outlets. Retailing at 1,598 ringgit, the Ultra Slim R5 will be available officially on December 2014.
There's a popular phrase which is less is more. Now, in the world of smartphones, that is not applicable whatsoever. What we have here are 2 giant phones. Just seems to keep getting bigger and bigger. In fact, for the first time that I can remember, the Samsung Galaxy Note is dwarfed, as you can see right there, by an iPhone, the iPhone 6 Plus to be specific. So, let's find out a little bit more about these 2 devices. Okay, I've got 2 eagerly anticipated phones right here. As you can see, one is from a brand you may have heard of called Apple. You heard of it? I know I have. The other one is from Samsung, and I have to say they are both massive beasts. So let's focus firstly on the one that came out before Samsung. Well, maybe not in Malaysia, but worldwide, the rest of the world. It was the iPhone 6 Plus. This is not the 6, this is the 6 Plus. Sitting right here and looking straight at you, looking absolutely monstrous. Finally, Apple have bowed down to all the people that wanted a bigger iPhone. Now, I don't have the iPhone 6 here to show you, but even that is noticeably bigger than the iPhone 5S. When I first held it, I was like, wow, this is quite big. Then I held the iPhone 6 Plus and I was like, wow, this is even bigger. It's 5.5 in case you're wondering. Obviously, Apple being Apple, it's that unibody which you've come to see, and it's very nice. It's like this brushed metal finish. It feels pretty nifty. It's less than 200 grams in your hand, so it's not too heavy either. Comparing it to the Samsung, they're both relatively light, which obviously does a lot. Now, I'm not going to get into the whole topic of bending the phone, etc. It can happen with any phone, in my opinion. You could bend the Samsung if you wanted to. You could bend the iPhone 6 Plus if you wanted to. All of them, they're that big, you can just bend it, but it's not meant to do that, obviously. However, let's focus on everything else about it. You may notice one thing on the side sees the home button moving from the top right to the side right there, so it's easier to access when you're holding the phone as opposed to moving your hands to the top like such. Makes sense. Right below it, obviously, it's the SIM card slot, nano SIM, as expected. Around the side, we've got the speaker grill there, we've got the lightning port there, we've got the headphone jack right there, nothing too surprising. At the side, it's a volume rocker, and we've got the silencer button there, or how we're going to configure it. And obviously, just as you expect, home button such, and of course the camera at the top, along with for you to hear exactly what someone's saying to you. So nothing too surprising there, but it's the display. The display is something very nifty. It's very sharp, it's full HD, it's really rather enjoyable to look at. Now, another point to talk about would have to be the camera. A lot of people will just want to know about the camera, and I can see why not, because it's still one of the best ones in the smartphone market. and it's just gone up another level in my opinion. It's using the same 8 megapixels we see on the iPhone 6 and also the 5S, but now it's got something called focus pixels. It's got a myriad of new features. Least of all is optical stabilization. Now, unlike the 6 Plus, which uses digital, this one is full-on optical stabilization, and it's great. It really stops the movement when you're trying to take pictures, etc. And having this optical stabilization does go a long way. OIS included in this, thumbs up to Apple for that. Other things about that, you can use the camera. It's full resolution panorama shots. We're hearing up to 43 megapixels, so nice crystal clear. I mean, even the front camera here, they're saying allows 81% more light. So obviously, if you're really into taking selfies, etc., this will do a much better job than what we've previously seen from Apple. Now, there's been a lot of talk about the camera poking out just a little bit, as you can see, but once you put a case on it, and you probably will want to use this phone with a case, you won't notice it because it just kind of levels out and evens out, and it's not really a big issue. Now, in terms of video, it's also great. I mean, there's the autofocus, and it will just focus on the subject without you having to tap where you want to focus continuously. So that's a big plus for pictures and for video. 240 frames per second. You can do your slow-mo, really slow-mo. That was me trying to do slow motion. You get the gist of what I'm talking about. Thumbs up, still one of the best cameras out there, comparable to most of the other smartphones. In case you're wondering about the power, it's using the 64-bit A8 processor, which is great. It's also saying they can use a new technology called Metal to really fully optimize the games using technology they've never seen before in Apple products. Not sure if that's just marketing or not, but the games on this, I've been playing quite a few basic games like tower defense, for example, Field Runners, smooth as you like, everything moves around swiftly, really is rather nifty. Now, let's move on to what Android have to offer, specifically from the giants that we call Samsung. The Galaxy Note 4, obviously one of the most anticipated phones out there, especially if you're into Android. It was the first phone that I can really remember pushing the size, the sheer size, and I'm sure that the release of the original Note and how well it did, and the successes as well, are one of the reasons why Apple have released the 6 Plus. So consider this a trendsetter, but the updated version. Now, there's not too many changes from the Note 3, but one of the most noticeable things is the moment you have the screen off, it looks normal. They've put the screen on, and wow, the screen just pops. Now, I should add that it does make the Apple phone, the 6 Plus, look a little bit washed out, but the Apple 6 Plus resolution, it's full HD as well. It's more natural, like I touched on earlier, but this one, the PPI is 550. It really pops out at you, but make no mistake, this will stand out. You'll be able to view this in most angles. It really, really is something. I'm very, very impressed by what we've seen. Now, of course, just looking around it, it's going to vary a bit from the 6 Plus. We've got this faux leather back, which is more refined than what we've seen in the past. And obviously, we just slip our thumb or fingernail rather there, pop it open, and obviously we can expand the storages. You can see right there, micro SD. We've got the battery, nice and elongated, not quite as cumbersome as we've seen before, and the slim SIM card slot right there. Pop the case back on, and we're good to go. Now, internally, this bad boy is packing a lot of heat. I mean, it is fully stocked, it's fully loaded. We're talking 3 GB of RAM inside here, so everything's gonna be moving along smoothly, very nifty. Internally, it's got 32 GB in terms of memory, not including all that extra data you can put on in terms of the micro SD. It's a 1.9 gigahertz octa-core processor. That's a lot of power. And the Snapdragon 805, wow, is all I can say. This is packing a lot of heat inside, and I'm telling you, you can probably do everything you want. I also want to talk a bit about the camera. This is also thrown in optical stabilization rather, and it's really giving a run for the money to the likes of Microsoft, etc., who already had it previously. So obviously a big improvement in terms of camera, 16 megapixels in case you're wondering what's underneath here. And let's not forget, having the S Pen, which they say is more refined than ever. Perhaps you could find more use to it. There's over 2,000 different pressure levels now, 2,048 if I remember correctly. So obviously more refinement there, and very, very nifty. I am very impressed with how they've really tweaked it about in the face of more competition, not just from Apple, but from other brands like Huawei and Xiaomi. Samsung really had to go all guns blazing in order to make sure that this stays on top of its game. To be honest, there's plenty to love about both phones. There really is. If you're really into selfies, Apple have improved their front-facing camera, as have Samsung. I mean, you can get like a full-on 128-degree equivalent by taking 3 snaps. It's really much better in terms of selfies. I know how popular those sort of things are right now. Obviously, the other thing is price points. This one, well, it's cheaper, that's for sure. It's less than 2005, just about. And the cheapest model for the iPhone 6 Plus at this point in time is just over 2007. That's for the 16 GB model. And it can go all the way up to slightly over 3,500 ringgit for the 128 GB, which is about 1,000 ringgit more than this one right here. And the micro SD card is not that much. And other things that could come into play if you travel a lot will be the fact it supports more than any other brand or smartphone in terms of LTE bandwidth. So if you like to travel, another thing to bear in mind, although do make sure you're using a nano SIM for that. And for Samsung, they're facing a lot of stiff competition, like I touched on. Xiaomi, etc., are really taking a hold on the market. This is a good return to form, and well, I'm very impressed with what they've done here. Not too vast a difference from the Note 3. Obviously, the 6 Plus is the first from Apple in terms of its size. There's nothing to compare it to in terms of its own universe. But in the Android universe, not too much, just lots of refinements, although I'm not sure it's worth a jump into the Note 4. Maybe the Note 5 could be something for you to think about. Both worth checking out, both class leaders in their respective universe, Android obviously, and iOS. Cool.